I thought when I become 18 I'll be conscripted, and so I thought I'd make a choice beforehand, and because of the family tradition of being seaman, I thought the Merchant Navy was my choice, and then I'd have a job afterwards as well. My mother was very worried because of what was going on, and when I was torpedoed, he knew for 3 days the ship had gone down because it hadn't arrived at Freetown, Sierra Leone, and of course the shipping company were informed, and he didn't know whether any survivors for 3 days, and so he had to keep that to himself. He didn't tell my mother. Well, it was quite calm going out in the convoy, and then we went. In those days, you had to go more or less due west to avoid the bombing of the Luftwaffe, and then we split up from the convoy. Then went on our own, and on voyage to Freetown from there. We were just sailing along, and we were due in Freetown the next day, and we'd reduced speed a bit because we didn't want to get there too early, but we were still zigzagging. And I remember it was about 11:30 on a Sunday morning, and I was on the bridge, and I could smell from the lunch being prepared. And then the lookout and the crow's nest shouted, "Torpedoes on the starboard bow." And then the third officer, whose watch it was trying to steer towards them because you make a smaller target. But before that could happen, they hit us. And 2 torpedoes hit the ship, and it went on fire. Then one torpedo, I saw them all, one crossed the head of the ship, and then the other one, I thought it's gone right through because it was here and then it was on that side. But what had happened was that was a different depth setting. So this guy had used 4 torpedoes on this small ship. But then the order was given to abandon ship by the captain and to take the lifeboats. I went to my lifeboat, it wasn't there. It was just in splinters that had been blown up in the blast. We had 4 lifeboats, the 2 on that side were shattered and damaged and completely in splinters. So you had to go to the one on the opposite side of the ship. I went there. I didn't know much about it in those days. Anyway, I got in this lifeboat, and it got stuck in the 'tween decks on the way down, and then by pushing and pushing, they managed to clear it, and when it got into the ocean, it sank. Then we swam to some rafts that the captain had gone round the ship releasing these rafts as well before he left. And I swam to one of those and got on the raft with some other people. And we were very overcrowded because I was then picked up by the better lifeboat, and they were licensed for 32. We had about 40 in the boat. We towed a raft for a couple of days. The only way you could get some exercise was to go on the raft, otherwise you were sitting like this. Or try and do a bit of rowing. And but on the raft the sharks were coming up underneath. It was one of these rafts with slats on it, made of slats, you see. And then, but after 2 days, it decided that it was impeding our progress towing this thing, so let it go. And that was a very dramatic moment because then there was no other, there was nothing else, just in this boat, you see. And the other very dramatic moment, of course, was when the ship actually sank. Eventually it went. They put another torpedo in, it wasn't going quickly enough for them. And then it sank, and the aircraft were blown up off the deck and they were floating in the sea. I was trying to see, and then the ship went down. That was a very dramatic moment, the last moment you see the stern disappearing down with the waves.